All right, so making this video here to document some ideas for the bottom line, that you can never have enough solar and you can never have enough battery. And the simple thing is that you're going to end up running a gasoline generator, even if you have a shit ton of batteries and a lot of solar. But you can get closer to it. Wow, I sent a lot of these. So these are part of the process. Actually, I guess there were supposed to be 10, and there are 10 here. So these are basically, they're called USB-C. They're not like the word for trick, but something like that. It's like a decoy board. So I guess it you can put the dip switches to say, I want the USB to try to output 9, 12, 20 volts, something like that. And it will output that DC voltage from these ports, right? So the idea is that you could take a power bank, plug it into here, you'd have DC out at 12 volts, 20 volts. This is part of the project. These were like $6 for 10 of these. So that's a pretty good deal. All right, so that's number one. Let's see what else I got. So yeah, then you could use maybe like these XT60s, these things, right? Some of the power stations have inputs for solar using this connector, XT60. So you could just use these, plug them into there, and then suddenly your power bank has got the connector that you need to output into a power station. I like power stations. I think they're probably the wave of the future, kind of like a step up from power bank, because they've got a built-in inverter, but they can also accept solar in. They can be charged on USB, they output USB, and the bigger and bigger they get now, they're outputting 240 volts, even though you'll need to charge them on 120. They've got expandable batteries. All of the kind of networking and communication and everything is built into that power station. The idea is to range extend the power station. So with solar input, but then also if there's extra output, charging the power banks back up, but then using those power banks to dump in into the solar port when it's not sunny out. Let's see what else I got. But yeah, we're looking at just like low-cost solutions to make, you know, big battery packs, basically, and cheap components. Okay, yeah, so here are the diodes. I would need to put a diode in line on the output of here if I'm going to combine the outputs from these. So the idea would be to have, you know, a whole bunch of power banks, USB out, USB-C out, decoyed to a 12 volts. Right? Anything over 11, my one power bank would accept that as a solar input. It's just an Anchor 521. But yeah, so, but then hook up a diode on the output here so that one power bank isn't backfeeding each other. They're outputting the DC, and from there it only goes in one direction, and that is into the unit. All right, so that's that. This is a cable that I bought. Anyway, just to show you some of these batteries that, you know, you can get a lot of these 18650s. Everyone knows this from drills and stuff, but it also seems like you could just buy a whole box of them pretty cheaply. And then you wouldn't have to deal with like capacity testing and are they good and all this baloney. But anyway, I've got about 100 of these right here in this box that I have salvaged, and I just need to basically, you know, kind of mix and match, you know, relative capacity and output and everything. But I mean, I think the idea of maybe just buying new cells, then you kind of know they're all, at least they're all going to be the same, which is the most important thing. So yeah, but I mean, if you had access to salvage cells, it looks like battery hookup is pretty close here in Pennsylvania, just in like Bethlehem or something, hour and a half away. I could go there and buy a whole bunch of modem batteries that are used and no one needs them anymore, and pull out the 18650s. But the 18650s are in a lot of other stuff too. You know, you're going to find them in, you know, scooter batteries and laptop batteries and all this other stuff. So I don't think there's a shortage of 18650s to salvage. So if there's kind of like a relatively easy way to, you know, get these batteries essentially for free, then, you know, rock on. That might be the way to go. That would certainly reduce the cost of building battery packs. Anyway, so I'm gonna do some unboxing here. I bought a few different ones of these DIY power banks. So there's solderless power banks for 18650 cells. And the idea is that you don't have to do any spot welding or any of that. You just can take these batteries that you took out of a, you know, a drill pack or something, and put them into these units. So let's see what this one is all about. I'll kind of give you, this one accepts 8. This is the smallest one I bought, I think. But they all have PD output. So this one says USB out, 5 volt at 3 amps, 9 volts at 2 amps, or 12 volts at 1.67 amps. So that's pretty good. So if I can decoy the output on here, type C out, to decoy the output to 12 volts and then collect that 12 volts and put it into my solar input on my power station. That's a range extend. The other idea, talking with Gemini, is that if you have a USB-C, right, the idea is that it can take power in and power out on the same port. So even though it's outputting 12 volts, if suddenly it sees 12 volts on that power, so like we would use like a USB splitter, one is your output wire, one is the potential charging wire, and if it sees voltage on the input, it's going to say, okay, I'm not going to output anymore, I'm going to start charging myself. So the idea was you could just click on charge and it would charge, and then as soon as you click off, then it would start outputting again. So that's the idea. All right, pulled out that. I guess these just kind of, yeah, came with a little screwdriver and some, and yeah, seems pretty easy. I will definitely make a video on each one of these when they're powered up. I just need to find a bunch of cells that, you know, I want to put together, right? That's the key. But yeah, this seems pretty easy. I definitely like there was one DIY power bank that I found that was not serviceable. So like once you click it together, you would not be able to separate it, and that's no good. So the idea here is that you can, if the power bank stops working, you can change it around. I'm gonna pause here for a second.